10 på 2 du fikk musikk på NRK P1 fra Bahari. Låta het Adore. Tilbake til sikkerheten på kontinentet nå. For på fredag tok vi helt til nyhetene om at 3 russiske MG31 jagerfly hadde tatt seg inn i Estlands luftrom.
Is the last of the squash and beans. I think it was a challenge to grow squash here.
In retrospect, I can see a lot of things I could have done differently. I started the planning and sowing the seeds inside in early April, while the snow was still covering the ground outside. The plants grew quickly, and I soon had to move them to bigger pots. It got quite crowded here inside the small cabin. May was very cold. We had freezing temperatures at night and a lot of windy weather. The plan was to plant them outside before the 25th of May, and I had to stick with that plan because I was leaving for a conference about wild herbs and plants. The plants had grown so big that it was almost impossible to get them out of the pots and into the ground without hurting them. I had done all I could for the plants, and now I had to leave. While I was gone, I was worried about the plants and what I would meet when returning later in June.
They are not going to make it. Look at this poor little guy. So even though I was thinking the plants are too big, perhaps it's a problem for them to be planted outside when they are so mature, it actually looks like that's better than small plants.
Only 4 of the squash plants had survived and produced squash during the summer and autumn. Most of the squash were small like these, but I did get one big one.
It's such a short period and it's so cold, so it doesn't work that well. I think I have to evaluate after this season and plan the next year for things that grow better here in this climate. But anyway, it's fun to try different things, so I will continue to try more.
I didn't get a lot of squash from my plants, but they did produce beautiful big flowers, and the bumblebees were so happy with the flowers. They were in the flowers like almost 24/7, and they could stay there for almost an hour. I've learned later that bumblebees can sleep in flowers, so my bed of squash plants has been a nice bed for bumblebees too.
These beans, I really like these, so I will try next year and I will make the conditions better for them.
The beans were sown in April too. They didn't grow quite as fast as the squash. Most of the beans were planted outside in the small greenhouse. It looks good now, but that was not the case in June. I was about to give up on them completely, but decided to sow some seeds in the ground in the greenhouse anyway. Let's have a recap of this greenhouse disaster in June.
Okay, a fair warning before the next one. You remember my little greenhouse. Look at this. It's a very sad story.
Luckily, the beans I planted in June after the greenhouse disaster had a much better time. They grew nicely and I could harvest, I think I harvested almost a kilo of this from just a few plants. So I'm looking forward to trying beans again next year.
Do you remember this bed? The ones where I planted beans first and then they wouldn't grow, so I planted potatoes. So this will be an interesting bed, a mix of potatoes and beans. Not a clue how that is going to turn out. Well, look at this. A few beans. They are not doing very good in there. The potatoes were definitely more successful in this bed. The soil is also better for potatoes. It's like rich and dense and it's more clay, and so I think the beans like more sandy soil. So next year I will try and make a special bed for them.